I never really talk like that. There are guys that talk.
What do you, I was gonna say, what are you drinking? But it doesn't matter. What are you doing? What's going on? Where is everybody in the world? Because they should be right here at the Wild Wild West show. Guns a blazing. It's Tuesday night. Stories to discuss, laughs to be had, and possibly even music to be listened to and watched.
Oh yeah,
Since
I'm a
that was.
big guy. I love that.
My name is Bay Ragney, and I'm alongside the man, the myth, the legend, sporting that killer brand new spread eagle shirt, the one and only, Mr. Ray West. What's up, brother?
I am happy as fuck to be still.
That's,
I gotta tell you, what happens to me is all day. I don't know if you guys, my mind races, and I can't calm down, and it takes me a lot to focus. So once we're here, like we're doing this, and I can focus on this, and like I'm good as long as we talk. I'm good, but when we're done, I'm back to being stupidly fucking crazy, and I can't fucking get a thought straight. So, but it's always a pleasure to be here, and I just hope that as we do this and go further along, that we get more bodies in the count, and people chime in with their likes, dislikes, and opinions.
you know what, and that's a good thing because it doesn't matter whether you like it or dislike it. We do want your opinion.
Well, you look on the internet every day, someone's got an opinion on something. So if we have a little platform here, why not jump on and do it? But look, because of you,
Exactly.
I find myself having a lot more conversation, and because of you, I am looking up at what's happening around me more. I've been impervious, I feel like, forever, and then we do this, and like, oh, there's things going on. So let's we should start right here.
So do you since you said that, do you catch yourself now like going to a site like Blabbermouth more often or
Yeah, like now to the point where I get notifications. It's just funny to me because sometimes there are things, like it's. I know everybody has to find a reason to like they have to have a reason to have their platform, and if they're not churning out juicy bait, no one's really going to pay attention, right? So, but Blabbermouth seems to be the place to go. It used to be when I was growing up. I read Rolling Stone, Cream magazine. What else was it? Rolling Stone, Cream magazine,
Hip Parader Circus?
Kerrang. Like that was the Bible. And now that we have
Mhm.
internet, the central location, since Rolling Stone just is like, still too cool for school. If you can get on the cover of Rolling Stone, you're obviously badass. But Blabbermouth seems to be everywhere, and there are go to. There's a wire for where all things rock and roll happen. So it's very cool.
They are the true TMZ of rock
Yeah,
and roll.
yeah. And I've been on the good end of Blabbermouth, and I've been on the bad end of it. So it's like it's there. It's a functioning thing, and we all need it.
Well, speaking of good, bad, even functioning, we do need it. So, thanks to Blabbermouth as always for supplying these stories tonight. But you could have probably seen most of these stories on multiple sites. But let's start off with we're going to start off with some sad news. Um, I wanted to make a point to remember this guy. I never had the pleasure to meet him personally or even speak to him, but he was the founding guitarist and still, up until 2 weeks ago or a week ago, one of my all-time favorite bands, a band that I truly love and listen to nonstop, is Saliva. And guitarist Wayne Swiney passed away last week, and it was a kind of sudden. The full details that come out, I'm guessing the way it sounded was they actually played in Nashville. I guess it was all right. It was last week. It was last Monday night. They
Mhm.
played in Nashville, and it sounded like Tuesday morning he was found unresponsive on the tour bus and was rushed to the hospital, and he had a brain hemorrhage.
Oh, that's so
Yeah,
quick. But that you go quick.
yeah,
You go red, and that's quick. Somebody getting
yeah.
home. I mean, I don't know the guy. I've seen him play a couple of times. I'm a
Okay.
Saliva fan. I don't care who you are. If you drink enough beer and click click boom comes on, you turn into a motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Is that not one of the greatest songs of all time?
Cool, man. It's just, it's. I know. I have people that are like the people that are rock and roll writer snobs. You know,
Hmm.
the cool guys. Sometimes I'm like, oh, fuck that shit. But it's look, man. It's undeniable. That band, I enjoyed that band. They had
Yeah.
the first singer I liked a lot too. Um,
Josie Scott. Yeah.
hits. So now they're kind of like touring off those hits, I think. But whatever, they're a good band. I seen them live. Saw them live last year. With the new they were great. And he
Yeah.
great guitar player was moving around and looking good. But it doesn't matter who you are, man. At some point, you're gonna get bit.
Yeah.
It's when it's your time. It's your time. It just sucks that it's like you're on the road doing a thing you love. What actually, if you think about it, you probably want to go out no other way than being on the road doing the thing he loves.
Sure.
But I'd rather just drop on the stage than in the tour bus and have to deal with all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's still sad, you know. He's a young dude still. So
59, I think he was, and
he's young, man.
yeah,
He's young.
yeah, man. It's
Seriously.
it really, it's a shame. Like, I've had the chance to interview their current singer Bobby, who's been with the band for 10 years now. Great dude, and I got to finally interview Josie a couple months ago, and I truly love that fucking guy. I love that band. I love the songs Josie wrote with Wayne over the years. Um, so I became friends with Josie, and I saw, and actually his wife as well, and I saw as the day was transpiring what they were posting on Facebook, and I was just like, he's
And
gone.
when someone you've
He's
met,
gone.
yeah, when someone
Yeah.
you've had conversation with, you connected on some level, it's a drag, man. This whole
Yeah.
thing, I looked up the other day, deaths of 2023. I don't know why I did. Oh, I know why, because Bobby Caldwell passed away.
Okay.
Bobby Caldwell wrote like the greatest love song of all time, as and it made me just. I clicked this link to read more about it, and it took me to the page where everybody who's passed away in 2023 passed away. It was
Mm.
a list to read. It was a lot. There's a lot of folks in there. I don't even want to get into it now, but
It's not even April.
yeah, man, we got a long way to go, and I do not want to be on anybody's list. So I'm praying to God. I'm getting good with God. And my beliefs, I'm getting in line. So no matter what happens to me, when I wind up where I'm going, you'll find me sitting, behind me,
Ray,
not knocking
Ray,
down, behind me. What are you doing out there? Yeah, I mean, I like it.
Ray wants to make lists, but not that list.
Man, death is hard. We talked about this last time. It's I don't want to get into it, but it's hard. It's so final. And as we all get older, and we all like, you go on Facebook now, and it's like a fucking obituary page.
Yeah,
People
it
talk
really
about
is.
their mom, their dad, their grandma, their cats. It's not the most positive experience sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's final, and when you connect, music connects people. So when you connected with someone and then they're gone, I'm gonna let you in on it. I cried when I saw the Bobby Caldwell thing. I cried, man. And I
Sure.
was all like a little fucker, man. And Susie, she understood it. She goes, "Oh, I get it," But it was just like it. I was having like a regular. I was having my regular day, and it just hit me really hard. I'm like, why am I being so over the top, dramatic, emotional about this? Because it's somewhere deep inside, I made a connection with this guy.
Yeah.
I made him part of my life, and every time that song comes on, I stop whatever I'm doing. And you know what you won't do. Anyway, it's final. It's difficult.
Isn't that like, when you connect, and we've talked about this a lot, like, people like Bobby Caldwell and many others over the years, like the one for me that still, it's 40 something years later, and I still get emotional when I think about it and talk about it, is Randy Rhoads. Like,
Yeah. And I just saw, that tour. They had played down here at a place called the Sunrise Musical Theater in Broward.
wow,
And I saw those shows. I was working as a valet.
wow,
All these cool shows, man, at the Sunrise Musical Theater. And they had just played, and then what a week later, I don't know what happened, but you're just like, wow, I just saw them. But
right,
but the connection you make as a young kid with that band,
sure.
it's crazy, man. But yeah, that's a lot. Eddie hits me hard. Eddie hits me as hard as
Somebody, I actually saw somebody in a Van Halen group today posted. They were at Eddie Van Halen's house at his driveway,
Oh
and they
yeah.
just posted a picture of it, the driveway, and they said it's pretty sad and scary the things that went on up that driveway at Studio 5150.
Well, there used to be a lot of musical life there.
Yeah.
You know, and it's weird when something goes quiet. It's just it's it's a matter. It goes quiet. Death is
Hmm.
where there's someone made a lot of noise, just doesn't exist anymore. It becomes a vacuum. You know, it's weird. How do you feel that? Hopefully his son will do that and carry on the family name. Oh, hey, here he is. Hey, Brian, I'm on my podcast, so I'm gonna call you back.
Yeah, it's cool. Just want to let you know that I was sleeping, I was tired,
Okay.
and then this cat died.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh.
We're just see, man. Enough death. Me and Babe were just talking about it down on the podcast. I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
I love
Sorry,
it.
Brenda.
A little bit.
Yeah, I'm tired. But anyways, I feel like, yeah, I don't know, it's cool. I love you guys. I love you.
All right, I love it. Okay, that's just done. Pick up the phone.
But
I love it.
Oh man.
And that's it's everywhere. It's everywhere. And that's my kid. He's got to deal with that shit. I call him. He's 19. He's still a kid.
He'll always be a kid.
You know, look, you and I talk about a lot of Madonna. Madonna's going to live forever because she's going to. I think she's going to have herself involved while she's alive. I think because she's halfway there, and she's just going to be a statue. I think she's going to whatever is the next thing, cryogenic something, robotics. We're going to have Madonna as a statue or something, robot, some sort of AI will inhabit Madonna's body.
You know, it's funny. There is a and I sent it to Ray the other day. There was a picture going around, and it says, "Imagine being a time traveler and going back to 1988 and letting the world know that in 2023, Roseanne Barr would be better looking than Madonna." And
Yeah,
I mean,
man. Look at that.
that's unbelievable. Who would have thought?
Roseanne looks like such a rock and roll groupie now. You know what I mean?
Right?
And Madonna kind of looks like what's the word for it? Like something out of like Friday the 13th or something. It looks like a roadie for fucking Marilyn Manson. No offense, I was just making a joke.
That was a good one.
Some of the guys that tech for that band, I don't. Sorry.
Wow, but wow,
I
I
know.
don't know, Madge. What are you doing to yourself? I don't know.
Show it again. Show it again.
Where'd it go?
It doesn't look real.
It doesn't.
Yeah, that's weird, man. And just the fact that that's a conversation that Rosanna, is hotter than Madonna is fucking weird.
I just don't understand, and not even just Madonna, but a lot of people that do the plastic surgery thing and go that route. How do you look at yourself and say, "Yeah, this looks good. Let's keep doing it"?
She must be. I mean, I don't know. She must be isolated because when no one says no to you, you that kind of shit can happen. She probably has maybe a bunch of yes people around her. I don't know. You know, she's huge in her community. She still rules the world as far as like touring and doing the whole gay market and all that. But that's a lie. No one knows. We're not her. So
Wow, this is true.
so she has a reason for making herself look like a backstage roadie of the fucking Marilyn Manson show.
So,
I'm gonna be.
which way do you want to go on the next story? Do you want to go the direction of somebody who kind of looks like they had some plastic surgery and some other possible stuff there's been rumored to be, or do you want to go with the headline story of the show? And this show is called "Going Off the Rails on Your Wheelchair."
Let's get into the meat and potatoes.
All right, meat and potatoes. The Ozman, who we've talked about on and off throughout the few months of our show. Last week, the big story going around, and I wanted to get your opinion because I totally felt this was Sharon putting feelers out to see how the public would accept or not accept this. We just said 2-3 weeks ago, Ozzy's done no more touring. Can't do no more tours. Health conditions is just too much for him. A week later, they're contemplating Ozzy doing a tour in a wheelchair, the way Phil Collins did it, and some others have done it recently to say goodbye.
That's sad because you need Ozzy to be sort of that thing he does where he walks around and cheers.
Right.
And then I saw another thing too where like the big three were going to do some sort of festival like Metallica, Maiden, and Ozzy. And
I was just going to say that came out earlier today that the rumor for the Power Trip Festival is those three as the headliners.
So maybe it's just a rumor, or it could be just bait to get us all to bite, on a ticket or something. I don't know, but I don't know. I think it's like a. Do you know the story of Teddy Pendergrass, the soul guy?
Yeah, of course.
Teddy, and then we'll get back to rock and roll. But he's the biggest at the time. He's the biggest rhythm and blues artist in the world.
Mm-hmm. He was a Philly guy.
He's a ladies' man. Women are throwing themselves to this guy. He wrecks his Rolls Royce into some shit, has a crazy accident, winds up in a wheelchair, and he does a concert via television, right? And he's in his wheelchair, and it was just hard. It was difficult to watch, and I think people had a hard time with that. And after that, there was really nothing. Nobody. His career didn't go anywhere,
No.
So I would imagine nobody wants to see Ozzy in a wheelchair. It's just weird. It's not.
Yeah.
I don't think even Ozzy would do it. I don't see it happening. And I think if it did happen,
that's interesting. Okay.
He would be manipulated, and he'd be like, maybe on some nice drugs or something where he wouldn't even know what's going on. But I mean, I don't want to see Ozzy in a wheelchair. It'd be difficult for me, But
so, I mean, that's the thing too. Like, I don't want to see that. I think it would be too sad. But then it's like, and like you said, would it be where he's manipulated into it, or would it be the point of here's a guy who's probably toured 60% of the last 50 plus years of his life, and it's hard to let go.
Well, you hear his interviews, you see him in his interviews, you read his book, and he lives to be on stage for his people.
Yeah.
We're all his people, right? So
right.
I think if I could see Ozzy perform or sing, I would love to see it, but would I want to see him have to struggle in a wheelchair? I don't know if he'd be struggling. If maybe Phil Collins can do it, maybe Ozzy could do it. I don't know.
But did you see Phil Collins at all? Like any of those clips of him in a wheelchair?
No.
Like that looks sad. That poor guy.
Well, let me add.
Okay.
Phil Collins is the kind of performer that runs around really. He really can't play his kid anymore. But
sure.
He's not the guy that runs around the way Ozzy does. There's a different thing there.
True.
Just watch a bunch of Phil Collins stuff the other day because I love to watch. What's the bass player's name? Leyland? The guy that looks like he belongs in ZZ Top. Anyway, whatever. It's like I'm digressing. Okay. I watched a clip of Toto the other day that blew my mind. I don't know. I don't want to beat him to the ground, but I would have a hard time with it. I probably couldn't afford the ticket anyway. I'm not going to pay $1,000. You know what I mean? So it's not my cup of tea. So forget
it. Yeah. You know what? Since you brought that up, I want to say this, and I want to get your opinion on it. And we've talked about the whole Ticketmaster world and tickets and the price of tickets, but and I hate to say this, but I've really come to the point in my life now where I don't think I will ever be going to another concert, like a Live Nation event or concert in an arena or anything ever again, because I don't want to pay those prices. I'll gladly go to a club and pay, $10, $15, $20 to see somebody that I love and be able to be there and up close and support them. But I'm not paying hundreds of dollars.
It's not going to happen. Look, we just talked about when I went to go see Greta. I only went because the ticket was a gift. I didn't pay to go see that shit.
There you go.
But I jumped at it. If it was a concert for some bullshit band, I wouldn't have gone anyway. But
right.
I like Greta, so that I think the minimal ticket there was like $250. It just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense.
$250 for Greta Van Fleet?
Yeah, and more. It went up because it was an 8,000 seat venue. Oh, no, maybe 150. I'm wrong. Sorry, $150.
Still,
It's still a lot of money, and like the whole Kiss thing and fucking at the Garden. I know it's their last. It's their last show, but come on,
right?
It's out of control. I don't understand who can afford to go see rock and roll like that. You know, it's expensive to go see bands.
But people are paying the price. That's the problem. The people are paying the prices, and they're still selling these shows out, and the common person can't afford to go. And you know,
and they're supposed to watch everything on YouTube. You know what I mean? Which is a shit way to see a show. Which is a shit way to see a show. You know, the live event, being part of it, being present, you know, being part of the communal thing that goes on. It sucks that you can't be part of it. You can't afford it.
Yeah.
So it's very aggravating. It's stressful. You know, when we do the clubs, at least I get my scruples are together in the sense that the people are paying not some exorbitant amount of money to come see us play.
Right.
It just sucks, man. It sucks. All the great venues, you know, a lot of the middle of the road venues are closing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's hard, man. But I don't want. I'm not going to pay top dollar to go see a fucking band. I'm just not going to do it. I can't afford it.
Let me ask you this: how would you feel? Because you're there. You're a common person. You're in the trenches, like me and anybody probably watching this show, or the common music fan that really can't afford to pay those prices or feel comfortable paying those prices. How would you feel as the artist if your fans were paying those prices?
I'd feel terrible. I mean, look, Gene Simmons is on the record as far as being a capitalist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's almost like this vibe. Ever since the vibe changed to commercialness, since it's cool to be to sell out and have commercial success.
Right.
That's money. It's about money. You know, so you gotta have scruples, man. If you got scruples, of course you're gonna think about the people, your fans. You want them paying that much money to come see you play. Is it fair to them? You know, maybe you just don't give a shit. You know, not everybody's Pearl Jam can afford to hire lawyers and fight Ticketmaster and all that shit. You know, Ticketmaster and Live Nation rule the roost. So they kind of like they're the market. You know what I mean? They're the bull market. Right. Fucking shit. So I don't know, man. I don't know if it's ever gonna change. I think it's coming to a point where it's just so much. It's gonna all blow up at some point. At some point, no one's gonna want to go out and see a big show anymore.
Right.
You know, so that's why, you know, I'll say, fuck the big shows, fuck those big arenas. Come and see the bands in the smaller venues. You know,
bingo.
You know, you get a beer much faster, much cheaper. You go to these stadiums, a beer is like $18. Fuck that too. But you know, I would love to play to 50,000 people, whatever. But there's a lot. You know, I think if you're a band just trying to do your gig, you want to play no matter what.
Yeah.
Some guys got their heads in the sand about it. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
it's aggravating.
I
don't like. I'm the kind of guy that I'm too nice, so I wind up giving merch away. Like I'm a problem. You know what I mean? Like I have to be like, we can't. Ray, why don't you just go to the corner? We'll handle this.
Don't you feel like when it comes time to that, like you feel bad at times, like to take people's money?
Of course, because if you're like a good person, you know what I mean? People are coming to see you and they're saying nice things to you and they're connecting with you on this really cool level about your music and your lyrics or whatever. And then you're like, okay.
Right.
You know? Now, if you want to go meet the band, you got to pay for this VIP shit. That's I'm against that. I'm not a fan of it. We talked about that too. I mean, if you can afford VIP, great. You know, hey man, if you want to give me money to come hang out with me, it's hard to turn down. It's hard to turn down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is a fine line. We're talking about some sensitive shit here because you do this craft, no matter who you are. If you make a piece of art, when a painter paints a piece of art, to sell it so that he can live. Or he doesn't want to sell it, and he's just, I'm not gonna. That's not what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna live in a fucking garbage can, and I'm just gonna do my art.
Right.
I don't want to just live in a fucking garbage can and do my art. I want to survive and eat and have a roof over my head.
Sure.
This is it is a living. So even though it's art and it's music, you have to support the artist. So it's about supporting the artist, right? You need to make your money, but it's just out of hand. Because there's other people involved. The band doesn't usually get to make their own rules. You got to deal with other people, and then you start politicking.
Yeah.
It gets wacky. I don't like to talk about money. It makes me uncomfortable.
Sure.
And especially even like at shows, man. I'm not the guy who would ever collect the money. I would never want to be in those shoes. I want to be dumb until someone hands me money. When the doors are closed, I'll get my lawyer, be like, hey man, we straight.
So on that note, that's a prime spot to send. Where's everybody? The place for everybody to go to get the new Spread Eagle shirt.
So
Since Ray won't be handling the money, so
that's people better than I do it. Because if I did it, we wouldn't make any money. I'd be like giving everything away. But spreadeagle.us.
There you go. Spreadeagle.us. Go get the new shirts. Find out the tour dates. They're coming to a city near you. And I'm going to do a shameless plug for myself. How about that? Because I'm starting to get merch now too. You can get your own My Alter Ego from Wrestling Chubby Dudley autograph card, which are now available, limited edition. $15 includes shipping. Hit me up.
I think you plug in there, man.
Hey, dude, I got bills to pay. So let's
US. You go there, and we have the merch there, and you can find all the latest thing and activities on the band. You can't be afraid to pimp your merch. I used to be afraid to pimp the merch. I felt that if I pimped it, people would think that's all I was doing, and I didn't care enough. But the reason I pimp the merch is for any band to survive, you got to make money. Merch is how we all survive. So you're not buying a shirt just because it's cool. You're actually supporting the band that you like. You're not coming to find me on the street and handing me dollars. This is an interactive thing. It's like anything else, right? You got to support. That's how that works. So.
I remember the moment when it hit me that, and it was about 20 something years ago. It's the music business. It is truly the music business, and it took me a very long time to realize that. And the thing that made me realize it was, when I was going to see, the bands that I loved from the '80s and the early '90s, starting to play the small clubs, and I'm seeing like a band like Rat and stuff like that in these clubs, and you're thinking to yourself, man, I remember seeing them headlining arenas for 15, 20,000 people, and now I'm right here seeing them for $200, and I'm like, man, why are they doing it like this? But then I started really breaking it down, thinking about it. I'm like, well, this is where they can play now. This is their job. If I was a Starbucks barista, that would be my job, and if it's not my career, that's what I got to do to pay my bills and support my family. I got to go Starbucks around the country. Well,
and you still got to deal with friends when they come in. Hey man, can I get that free caramel chai? You know what I mean? It's like, oh, that comes out of your pocket, so now you don't get. You know what I mean? So it's tricky, man. As we grow up, we understand how money works and what it takes money to do things, and it's just it's you. I have a hard time with the money aspect of things, even though I love money. Fucking love it. Love it like the way I love drugs. I love money. It brings you freedom, So, but for a band to survive, for make it, yes. So its audience has to support the band, and it goes back and forth. The audience supports the band creates art so the audience has it. So in other words, if you were making a painting and you put it up, someone would buy it. You'd have to make another one, and it would go on like that. That's art. The business of art. So the bands that can make money do. There's a happy medium somewhere. But like I said, I think this is going to go to a place where it's going to blow up. It's like it can't go anymore. So I hope that doesn't come sooner than later. I'm just, like I said, myself, I'm just happy to be still alive and be able to do this at a certain level. And I'm lucky I get to do it. There's a lot of things that I don't like about the business, but we all have to deal with that. You take the good with the bad. That's the way it is.
Well, you mentioned a great segue, because a little thing I wanted to touch on too, that happened last weekend was Rockin' Pod, the big rock and roll music podcast convention here in Nashville happened, and this is the third one I've been to. I was not there as a podcaster. I decided to just go as a person and support. And I had helped out behind the scenes a little bit in the planning process, part of the planning team. And this year they did a much bigger venue. Usually they've done the last few years hotels, where they've done like hotel ballrooms and done things like that. This year they did the Nashville Fairgrounds, which is like a 30,000 square foot place. And they did it where they made a deal with a local Comic-Con promoter where it was the Rock and Pod convention mixed with a Comic-Con as well. So there was a lot of like comic book style vendors there. And the way it worked was Saturday was the Rock and Pod day, and Sunday was the true Comic-Con day. And I was invited to be a guest on Sunday as a wrestler, so I got to experience both days. But Saturday I went just as a supporter and fan and networker of Rock and Pod. And I was very pleasantly surprised. Great, tremendous turnout. It made me feel good to see at least 500, probably even more people out supporting the rock and roll community. It's a beautiful thing.
That's tremendous. And every there's a future in this thing. Everybody wants to have a conversation. Everybody wants to get informed. Everybody wants to be a part of something. So I think that's important. Once again, a way of expressing yourself. So that's kudos, man. That means it'll grow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And one day, when we get more than right now, we have like 1 billion listeners. So like one day when we get our 1 billion listener, we'll have our own podcast thing.
Well, I'm throwing our hat in the ring right here, right now, and I'm going to tag Chris from Rockin' Pod. Yo, Chris, 2024, the Ray and Bay show, the Wild Wild West show. We want to do a live episode of our show and have the fans give us the news stories. This way, neither of us know the news stories. You fans ask us the stories, and you ask us the questions, and we'll give you the feedback. Unadulterated, uncensored, unfiltered, and unfucking believable.
I like that, because everybody's got something to say. So why not do it this way, right? So I'm excited about it. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. How much did it cost to get into the podcast thing?
Oh, you know what? It was cheap. It was only I want to say.
We could talk about it. I feel terrible even asked it now. I feel shit.
I think it was only like $20.
See what I mean? See, cheaper than a rock show. Wow.
And you could, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, I could probably pull the website up. It's probably still up there. I think it was $20, and if you paid $30, you then got a ticket to go see the Keelfest concert that night. Oh. So I think it was like $30 for Rock and Pod to end the concert. Which, come on.
When rock and roll, what I feel is happening with things, so let me to add to that, is rock and roll. The reason that we need venues on a bar level, those smaller venues, it's just much more intimate. It's much cooler. It's not the big event, but it has to stay supported. So whether there's the big show and people are paying a lot of money or coming out to the small clubs, people have to get out. Our generation of people needs to needs to educate the younger folk so that they come out to the shows too. And this thing keeps going and keeps going. And that'll work itself out.
I'm glad. I'm glad you just triggered something in my head from Rockin' Pod. So they had a lot. They had 3 different stages going all day long with different panels. And at one point on the main stage was, and I'm sorry I don't know his name, but the bass player from the band Seduce, the Detroit band, Rick Fox, who I've interviewed many times. Rick was the original bass player in Wasp and played in Steeler, Ron Keel, and played in a bunch of other LA bands. Stevie Rochelle from Tough and Metal Sludge, and Ricky Rackman. And it was the Decline of Western Civilization panel, because all 4 of those guys were big parts of that movie. So they were doing the panel, and I was standing there watching it. I was standing there with a couple of the guys from the band Crashing Wayward, who are on Ron Keel's label now. And there was a girl, an actress, who was also in the movie, and she was hosting the panel. And the guy who was doing the audio, he came running over to me, and he was part of the planning committee too. He's like, "We need a question." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "We need a question fast. We're drowning. We're drowning. Nobody's asking questions. I need a question right now." I'm like, "Oh." He's like, "Think quick." I'm like, "Give me a minute." And I come up with a question. So my question was, and it was to Ricky Rackman. I said, "Ricky," I said, from a guy who ran a successful club, even though it was one night a week, but a successful club like the Cat House and Bordello, and you had this whole thing going on, and then you hear the nightmares of what's going on in the club scene today and bands, not drawing and stuff like that. What do you think can be changed? And his answer was, all of us, and I'm just as guilty, we need to get the fuck off our asses and get off of YouTube and get the fuck back in the clubs.
That's it, man. It's like, I see it happening gradually. You know what I mean? The more people know the band, the more people will go to the event.
Yeah.
So, and to support the local acts, because you need, it has to all work together, which brings to, those local bands, sometimes they got to pay to play, that's what they used to do in Hollywood.
Yeah, still do.
Well, because you sold tickets to the people that were going to come see you play. You worked your asses off. Back in my days as a kid, we had the fucking flyer place. Sometimes we had to sell tickets. We didn't buy on as some bands do today. It's a generational thing. I really believe that. I think at some point, people lost. It just didn't work. They didn't work hard to get the people in the rooms. And now you've got to work hard. We had this conversation before. That's why we have social media. But the problem with social media is everybody that posts is trying to post like they're in this band that's this, that has this record, or there's, it's like, well, who are these guys? If you hear bands say things like, for our fans, but all there is their friends replying.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're delusional. They're just trying to sell you. They're not, it's not real. So, and the guys that have names that are still around, that are starting up, who they are. They've got a track record, they're respectable. They work hard. They're nice guys. You like I said, you can't be an asshole. And you used to be able to back in the day be a fucking prick, But now, because of social media, they'll find you out. People don't want to deal with assholes. Right. People want a positive experience. Back to what you're saying. We do everything in our power to get people into the rooms. Because yes, don't get stuck at home watching YouTube. You're not going to get the experience that way.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's a kid that writes me, Jacob Bobbitt. Great comes from a great rock family. They go. It's his dad, Larry. They go to all these great shows. They go as a family. Every time we
Okay.
play, they always show up, and it's great. Like you see it being passed down. He plays drums. He wants to be in a band, but he's just got a great rock and roll soul. And sometimes you'll travel around and meet other people. I know there's a girl named Jody Wilk, great family. They go rock shows. They photograph. She's in a band, but they give you hope.
Yeah.
For like filling in the rooms and working hard, and you meet great people. There's some great people out there that are doing it for the right reason. The bands that are organic and that are good and that are real family, will make their way. The bands that are just faking it and the hobbyists, are going to find out that they are going to have a hard time getting people in the rooms. But you can see them all over social media. That's why you can't. People don't know who's real anymore. That's the problem with bands on social media. Everybody in the band's got money. They try to make themselves look like they're something they're not. And then you go to see them, and they're not what you know what I mean? They're not as advertised. I don't know. I get on one. I go all over the place, but we're in a tough spot. Spread Eagle has to work really hard.
Right.
We got to let them know we exist. We're still touring. We're active. Oh my God! Well, I'm gonna take my kids. And this is probably the most out of all the bands I've done in the past 20 years. This is the hardest mountain to climb. Me and my brothers have to let people know that we exist, that we're good. That the bass player is great, bass player is cool, drummer's great, drum player is great, the singer doesn't suck. It's like you gotta sell it, man. You gotta sell it. It's not just the social media work, because when people meet you, you got to work hard. But I mean, how many people do you meet? You can tell they're phony. I know bands. I know a particular band that will have fans come up, and they're so fucking jaded that when the fan leaves, they fucking talk shit about them. And it's like, I wish I could just grab people and just choke them out. Like this is a special thing we do. It's very specialized.
Yeah.
To go in a room and connect. People want a good experience. They want a real experience. They want to know that the band they're going to go see is genuine, right? And this great track record of all these awesome bands. Whether you're doesn't matter whether you're Rod Stewart or fucking Paul Stanley. You got your track record. You've got a proven, respectable record. And if people are going to pay a lot of money to come see you and they can afford to do it, let them do it.
Yeah.
Let them do it. Because you can't control everything. I can't worry about who's paying what to come see me, because it's out of my control.
Yeah,
it's out of my control. If I could hire the lawyers and go up against Ticketmaster, I would, but I can't.
It's almost like a band like Spread Eagle. It's almost like you got to be a politician. Like you're on a political campaign. You got to go out there and shake hands, kiss babies, and that whole 9 yards.
It is, man, because you gotta get people in the rooms. It's the thing with our band is that we generally like to mingle. Everybody's pretty good at making conversation, and no one's like a heavy drinker or a drug addict. So it's not like we're sitting there going, "Hey, I gotta go, man." We genuinely like to hang out. But we work hard. It's working hard, man. Got to be on the socials. We do this now. I mean, I do this because I love it. But we can use this as a vehicle too, for us, our podcast or the band.
Sure.
We do that, man. I want people to understand that we do this for real. This isn't like some fucking game. We're not hobbyists, and it sucks because because of it we starve. Because it's not a hobby, because it's what I think of 24 hours a day. It's painful. So, I get that little moment of joy. It's an hour and a half where I get to connect with everybody and we all make each other feel better. And after that, I cry and I feel like shit.
Well, let's give a couple shout outs to people filling up the chat. Our good boy, Mr. Gene Brennan. Hey, Ray and Bay.
God bless Gene.
Gene's awesome.
Right.
Love Gene.
And he tunes in. And Gene is our billionth listener. I'm going to keep saying it until it happens.
Well, here's Mr. Billion and One.
That's right. Billion and One gets a free Tootsie Roll. I don't know.
Our guy with the graphics, Mr. Rob, Rockstar Rob.
Bless you, Rob.
He's in. He's always in, and he's always got it cranked loud, especially while he's making graphics.
We live to do this. We live to converse. We live, but you mentioned something earlier. I want to get back to it. I would not pay anything over $100 to go see a band.
I wanted to ask you how much what would be the most you would pay?
It has to be like me and Sue were talking about it. Oh, fuck. Oh, I want to go see Duran Duran. I don't know why. For some reason, I want to go see Duran. And I think
fucking love
$125. I was like, I'm gonna go do that. Rage Against the Machine at the Garden. I think that was like a couple of hundred or something. I would have done that. So Rage, I would have paid over $100, but that's my ceiling. I'm looking for someone to get me in. You know what I mean? I'm looking for my Ray angle. Who do I know? I've spent most of my life finagling for free shit. That's the art of what I do.
Right.
For years, I didn't pay for a drink. I didn't pay for food. I didn't pay for nothing. And one day, I came out of this thing without a skill, except being extra, and I had to pay for everything. So it's like, I'm very fucking picky.
It's funny you said that, because that was and I didn't even touch on it. The segue I meant to say about the whole Rockin' Pod thing was the day before Rockin' Pod, or 2 days before, was when the Kiss tickets went on sale for the last Garden show, and the dude Chris, he put up on Facebook, and he said, for the people who were out there buying tickets to go see Kiss at the Garden for thousands of dollars and then asking me for free tickets to Rockin' Pod, fuck off.
Oh, listen, man. Let's bring us to a whole nother subject. You go to a town, someone you haven't spoken to in like so many years, and they hit you on Facebook. I'm like, oh, wow, this is nice. How you doing, man? How you been? How's your family? Oh, great, man. Or somebody who just thinks they're more than they are in your life.
Yeah.
And at the end, it's always like, hey, man, by the way, can you get me in? Like, you got to support the band. That's where I draw the line too, because I used to be, like I said, I would give everything away. And I learned if I did that, I wound up not having anything in my pockets. Yeah, no food for me, because it is art. You're selling art. You're selling you're part of this. It's a product.
Yeah.
But it's all entertainment. It's a product. And people pay to be a part of it. They pay to be in the bar. It's a fee for the parking, the drinks, whatever. Drinks included. I don't know. They always are for me. But that's different. It's a lot of shysterism going on in this business, and the bands that tour on whatever level have to deal with someone trying to make money off them, taking money out of their pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So if your friend's band has a nice big show lined up, and it's the big break they've been looking for, but you're fucking bugging them the last minute to get a ticket, you're not a friend of the band, because you're not supporting the band for real. Your good vibes and friendship just aren't enough.
Yeah.
You got to care enough to fucking go there. Yeah, like if you get lucky, you might get in, but it's and maybe that's like the whole videoing thing of shows. Everybody wants to be like they're part of the program.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's so much involved, man. But you gotta like respect the fact that bands got to make their money so that they can eat. But I'm not asking people to pay $1,000 from me. Gene Simmons is a famous capitalist. He's famous for saying, this is money now. So if you're going to pay that, the people that pay to go see Kiss deserve to go see that band.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I saw that band in their prime when all 4 band members were in there, and it was all the original members. So I paid for that. But I'm not going to go see some weird version of it that's not the original version. It's not in its prime. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
But everybody wants to be a part of it. It's a happening. So I get it. The people that can afford to pay $1,000 to go be a part of something, other people are going to do that. Same people that go to Coachella and pay $1,000 to go get in the VIP room, because that's where the keg is. They have to stand in line.
Well, Rob brought back our the infamous saying: End ban YouTube douchebaggery.
This is
Get back in the fucking club.
because they're everywhere in everything. It's some are red and some are blue, right? And they're everywhere, man. And you have to stop them out. These are the people that are fucking hobbyists. They're not in this for real. They're not in this to go and be a part of something. They're in there to watch you be a part of something. These are the people that go in the back of the club and are watching everybody else have a good time. You know, maybe that's what gets their fucking pee-pees wet. I don't know, but I mean, this is an interactive experience. If you're gonna go to a club, don't just fucking stand there in the back of the room. You know, maybe that's because you think that's cool. That's cool. That doesn't work anymore. It's not gonna get you laid.
What's it like when you look out from the stage and you're still like it was the big thing? Like you would always hear like people saying, "Oh yeah, you're up on stage and you're looking out and you're seeing the guys standing there like that, looking up at you."
I have a habit of usually if there's a person that I see, and people know, if there's a person I see and they're really not, and I could be, sometimes I will misread. You know, I wear fucking glasses. I can't see shit. So, it's something, and there are people that do that. I see people that are kind of stone facing and having a moment, and I will, if you're doing this, and I will stop what I'm doing, and I do this in front of you, and everybody sees me doing this in front of you. And so
I've seen you do that. I've seen clips of you doing that.
you and myself, right? So I don't think we're going to have a conversation, but it's more like I'm going to, if you kind of like don't want to be a part of it. So if you don't, I'm going to find out why. You know, I'm not going to stop the show to give you that kind of attention, but I'm going to let you know that I feel you, and I'll say it like this, you know, if you want me to, but you're making it, that I feel you. I shouldn't. Now, if I was a truly professional person, I would even acknowledge it.
Yeah.
But we're playing smaller venues, so you have to like wake them up. And most of the times when I do that, people snap out of it. And they're like, "Oh, I was over here. Ray pulled me back into the show," you know. And I between songs, and be like, "You okay, man?" You know. But I don't like to break the momentum. I won't go out of my way to point somebody out unless they're being an asshole, and then we have to stop their asshole douchebaggeryism.
Absolutely.
This is about good versus evil, right? The good people come to the show. Wherever there's good people, there's going to be somebody there that's evil that's going to prey on them. That's the douchebag assholeism for you. And they're everywhere, man. You know, you just don't know how to have a good time. The people that don't know how to have a good time, we need to show them how. We need to educate them. So that's how we have to stop asshole douchebaggerism.
Before I get into the latest story, I got to share this picture with everybody if they haven't seen it. You shared this picture, and I said, "Damn, that was a badass photo shoot you did."
Oh, dude. So yeah.
Come on.
So that's actually my apartment that I used to live in New York City.
Really?
Yeah, we were signed. That was, now I wasn't dressing like that every day. Well, I almost was, because what we did, if you lived in New York City, the idea was I didn't have stage clothes. Whatever I wore was what I would go and gig on. You know,
Okay.
that's how I was. I was like, I'm not gonna buy stage clothes. I'm already stagey enough as it is. But you know, I had this beautiful apartment I lived in. It's a place called Waterside Plaza. It's a famous landmark on the east side of Manhattan. There's these three huge brown stone buildings. They shoot up in the air. There's a airport next to it. But man, that was like that apartment was as big as the block I live on right now. It was huge, man.
Wow.
And it was a really decadent part of my life. So I was really rock starring out in those years. And that photo shoot was
What year was that?
That was open to the public record. So I'm going to say that was like 92, 93.
Okay.
And I remember we all got to do these really expensive photo shoots. So you imagine people coming to your house.
Yeah.
And it's a crew of like 5 or 6 people. You got the camera guy, the makeup person, and the person that's dating the makeup person, whatever. But you have all these people in your place, and they liked our place enough where they did the photo shoot there. But it was really, I remember that night, man. I was so like on top of the world. You know,
awesome.
We had money. I could just, everything was free. I mean, look at that. The kid in that photo is so like just not over himself. That's a lot of ego.
Yeah.
So but that was the most decadent period of my life. I was probably like on some kind of drugs during the shoot.
would would you feel comfortable today doing a photo shoot like that?
If I did it, it'd be for fun. Like now I see the humor in it. Like
Right.
that shoot was very serious. I was like, yo, man, I'm fucking sexy. I'm fucking I'm so cool. And now to me, it's kind of comical. But
Right.
it represents a very decadent part of my life. It was the most prime. That was me at my prime rock and rollness.
All right.
It was like my vocal prowess, my stage cockiness, the way I behaved to myself, the way I was with people. I was very confident. And when
But
you're young, the world's your oyster, man. You're smart. When you're young, you're smarter than everybody else. You know that, right?
of
Nobody's
course.
smarter than you. You know everything. So that represents me. That's the point in my life where I knew everything. And then I found out that I didn't, and so I stopped dressing like that.
But for the record, I would still dress like that. But
Dude, I love that shirt. I got
but
my Crocodile Dundee hat there. Man,
all right.
that's New York City, bro.
It
I mean,
it is, but
New York
but think of it this way. Think of it this way now, Ray. I mean, you look back at it now, you're like, yeah, it was comical, which I get that part of it. You're looking back at young Ray 30 years ago. But think of it this way. This has just popped in my head as we were saying this. Isn't this what rock and roll is missing?
I'm gonna tell you what it is. That was genuine. It
Right.
was, yeah,
That oozes fucking rock and roll.
right.
You show me one picture today that oozes rock and roll from a band.
Right. So that wasn't made up. That wasn't some shit for fucking Facebook, Instagram. That
Right.
was
Right.
like this band has energy. This band has it's got a lot of light, a lot of energy, a lot of sparkle, man, a lot of drive. So let's make everybody look good. Like you're in their element. I love lights. I love I like to do a lot of flash and I love nice things. So I enjoyed that shoot a lot. And then Rob's shoot was on the Brooklyn Bridge. I remember that. Rob's shoot was nice for that record cover. We all got I wish now that I'd shot on the Brooklyn Bridge, but I enjoyed that. That was like that was a time when you were a rock star now, man. You had your record deal.
Yeah.
The label was like, "You guys want to do for a photo shoot? Oh, you guys want to do this? How much does it cost? Okay, no problem." Like nobody said no, and I got to live that. I got to live that, and it was really cool. There's not one thing I would ever take back about it, except of course my little overindulgence on heroin. But I wouldn't change a thing, man. My ride was awesome,
Right.
and I always considered myself what I wanted to be known as when I was back in the day. I wanted people to say that that's a vicious singer. I always thought that's what I wanted to be known. I wanted them to say, well, Ray West, when on these two records, he was a vicious singer, man. That's what I wanted to say. So I lived that. That was my focus. I was driven for so many years, man. When you come to New York City and you want a record deal, and it's highly competitive, and you got a chip on your shoulder because LA, LA does this. Well, we're in New York. We got this. This we're holding down our own business. So it's I wouldn't change a thing. I really loved everything about the date was great. I remember every bit of that shoot. I thought I'd forgotten a lot, but now as I posted it, it came back to me. The whole day was fucking mega. And that photo shoot was like a 3-day in a row thing, like a 3-day event. You know what I mean? There was the leading up to it, shoot, and then just partying afterwards. Like, what did you do? We did a photo shoot. You're celebrating that? Fuck yeah, dude. You don't know who I am. I can't do anything. I'm surprised that happened.
Ray West, he was the Madonna magnet.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. I fucking loved it, man. Look, everybody wants to be when you're in your 20s, in your teens, you want to be signed to a fucking record deal, and then you wonder what it's like, what the party's like. It's everything. When we went to LA, I understood it was parties, and it was going to the hills and Laurel Canyon and all this other shit,
Right?
And doing coke all night and getting tattooed at 3 a.m. with somebody you didn't know, and it was crazy, man. Like this, I got this old school tat. I never changed this because this was in Hollywood at 3 a.m. on halcyon, which is I guess Valium, whatever, and a lot of alcohol, a lot of cocaine, and I just did things, man. You know, I wasn't really thinking. We just went forward all the time, you know. Anyway,
You know, it's crazy though. You were saying about the photo shoot, and you know the record company is like, "You want to do this? All right, yeah. Here's the money. We'll pay for it." Today, to do that photo shoot, you would be paying for it because they'd be taking your merch money.
we are a very vicious. It's a very strange business. It's because the business changes every day.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the business that it was. So we have to back to social media, back to watching who has the coolest ads, who posts the coolest things, how they're pimping the merch. But once again, it's easy to tell who's real and who's not. But the main thing is, all that matters is when you get the box.
Yeah.
How good is the band when they're live? How good are they when they track? Live is everything now because everybody's videoing you, right? So
yeah,
I've gotten to a point now where it's taken me a year. I feel great, and the proof is in the pudding with this band going on stage. It just feels good. I don't brag about it. I don't talk shit about it. It's more like just come see the band and have a good time. That's all it is. You know, I don't pull that boat. Yeah, you got, you know, yeah, come see, we're fucking awesome, bro. It's a good band. What am I supposed to fucking say? You know,
right.
I do no shtick. Rob does his shtick. Johnny does his. Ricky does his. We fucking get down. It's the place to be. You know, we do everything. We have a fucking barbecue on stage. It's that kind of
all right, last story I got is a person we've never spoken about yet on the Wild Wild West show, and I'm really curious to see or hear your opinion. But this person who there's a lot of interesting stories out there about him or her. We're a little confused by what's going on. There's not a clear answer. But whenever this person's name is brought up, there is just complete controversy. And it was announced the other day there will be a 2-day listening party for their new album. And it's $500 to get in to listen to the new album. That's what they're charging their fans.
Stop,
and,
man. Stop. This will be just charging people $500 to go to a listening party.
Well, it's one person.
Okay.
I don't even know if there's a band, but there's one person. And it's a former member of Kiss, and he had his own invasion, Mr. Vinnie Vincent himself.
What do I say without getting in trouble? Hey man, more power to him. If someone's gonna pay $500 to go fucking see Vinnie Vincent, you know, a guy that wasn't in the original band, you know, he's not Ace. More power to him. More power to him. Enjoy losing $500 and whatever. Who am I to get mad about someone who spent $500? It's their money. Do what the fuck you want to do. Vinnie Vincent, I'm not really like up on that catalog. It's not something like I'm real purist about Kiss.
Right.
I'm probably in the asshole douchebaggery category of Kiss. Like I'm like more like if it wasn't Ace, Pete, you know what I mean? Paul, and I didn't give a fuck about it. I got to be honest.
Right.
It's not like everything after them. I didn't really give a fuck about it. I do have a thing right here, fucking I Was Made for Loving You, Baby. I do get kind of dancey when it comes on, but I'm not like into that era of Kiss.
I for some reason, like, I liked Vinny. I liked Vinny. Like, he wrote good stuff on Creatures of the Night. I like the stuff he helped write and play on with Lick It Up. But he is a fucking lunatic. Or I don't even know, because there was rumors he will not answer the question. Supposedly he had a transgender name. I don't know.
Hey man, for him.
Yeah, I mean, I actually met him a few years ago at a horror convention, and got to talk to him for a good 15 minutes. Very, very nice person, very genuine. answered any of my questions. I asked legitimate, like serious questions I wanted to talk to him about. But also too, like the stuff he did with Vinnie Vincent Invasion, those two albums he did, I really enjoyed, and a couple songs I truly love. I think he's a phenomenally talented songwriter. Also did a few songs on Kiss's Revenge album he co-wrote.
Okay.
Phenomenal songwriter. He's like a Yngwie Malmsteen type shredder,
That I know. Yeah.
but he's batshit crazy.
He's a fucking guitar player, man. Look, okay. Most of the cats I know that play in bands are fucking crazy, but it's a manageable kind of crazy. You know what I mean? Like to be in a band, you've got to be a little bit wacky. Like you got your drummer people, right? Drummer guys are high energy, usually a little off to the left, off center. Bass players, and then guitar players are that's the rock star. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a fucking guitar player. I wanted to be a rock star. But you gotta be a little bit out there. You gotta be out there to even be in this business. You gotta be a little bit extra and be out there to be in front of people.
Right.
Pushing a lot of air at the top of your lungs. Like I have a very off-color language. I curse a lot, and it's like if I was my stage self in regular life, I would get thrown out of most places. It's like something happened, something goes a little nutty, man. You deal with a lot of electricity going through you. So you gotta be a little bit wacky, you gotta be a little bit crazy to be in this business. But guitar players are kind of wacky. And you take it to the total fucking manic, manic. What the fuck? What's it? Anyway, I'm diagnosed as being a little bit crazy, so that's a part of it. You know what I mean? But I don't know too many people that are that down to earth and rock band. Only Rob DeLuca is very organic and down to earth. Rob DeLuca is a fucking.
There's one. Rob.
You won't meet anybody like Rob DeLuca. You won't. He's like from another planet. That's why I'm glad that he lets me hang around. But you got to be a little wacky, man. But look, just getting back to it, I wasn't. I'm not much of a Vinnie Vincent fan, so I don't really. I can't. I know that if he wants to be, I did know the conversation that he wanted to do a sex change or something, and at that time hiring singers for his new band or something.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, every time it happens, that's when I always get a phone call, and I was still like, okay. I just didn't know. I don't know his stuff well enough to be a fan. I should say that. But I'm an Ace Frehley guy.
It's here. Do you know the band? The band Vane.
Oh yeah,
fucking phenomenal. As a matter of fact, Vane's No Respect and Spread Eagle's album, like fucking neck and neck, fucking blow away albums that are probably on every list that people say the must hear and own albums of the era.
We had the same booking agent back in the day. We toured with them.
Really?
Oh yeah, man. We were actually our first tour was with Vane. Our first tour bus. They came to pick us up in New York City, and the first show was like in Portland, Oregon. So you got to imagine 4 guys fresh off their first record deal. Never been on the road before. In that kind of situation, a bus comes to town. We all jump in it. Our girlfriends are all with us when the bus comes to get us. Right? I won't go too long. We're giving our hugs, telling them how we love you, and we're going to miss you so much. And something happens when you get on a bus. It's like a dildo on wheels. You know what I mean? It makes you just get crazy. And we got to be so we took a bus ride from New York City all the way to Portland. So 3 days of just straight getting used to the bus, which involved a lot of like buying liquor, It was crazy, man.
So at
okay, so we go it's on tour with Vane. We get to Georgia. I don't know where, but a few nights before, I don't know what gig it was. And since then, man, let me just say, since I'm going to say this, the years have passed, and I've met Davey a bunch of times, and he's very, very cool. I was very juiced up on rock and roll and who we are, and we were opening the show, and I happened to say to the crowd, "Hey, we're Spread Eagle from New York City, yada yada. This is street metal, fucking. We're not no glam fag bullshit." And apparently, someone took offense to me saying that.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so it wasn't directed at them. I was feeling my own, I was like, this is who we are. So, but he took it upon himself to feel offended back in the day. So it was funny because we pulled up to a bar called the Masquerade in Georgia, and we weren't allowed in. And why aren't we allowed in? Oh, this band doesn't want you in the building. And this came between that and the day when I actually apologized. So yeah, I'm sorry if you took offense to something I said. I didn't mean anything. It wasn't against you. I don't think you're a glam fag, or are you? Whatever. But it's like, but he took offense, and we all the bands, we just had a hard time. There was
really,
but yeah. And remember we weren't let into this club, so we had to go on our own tour. That's when we headlined our own bill after that, and it was just funny. But that was that tour.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, the one guitar player is a transgender now.
Hey, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. I actually got to. She lives here in Nashville, and I got to meet her at Rockin' Pod, Dilana Nova Scott, and still plays with the band, and actually has her own amplifier company, and they're called Third Power. And before I met her on Saturday at Rockin' Pod, everybody I was talking to the night before, they had like the All-Star Jam, and everybody was just saying how phenomenal it was and how amazing everything sounded and blah 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 blah. And then when I met Dilana, she was telling me, "Oh yeah," because somebody came over and was complimenting her about her playing the night before and her amps. It was her amps that they used as the back line. So everybody was ranting and raving. But yeah, I got to I connected with her, and I'm going to do an interview with her. But it's going to be like very interesting because and awkward, because for me to sit and do an interview with her, I have to go down that road, and I got to talk to her. It's a very important subject that needs to be discussed. So,
hey, look, man, it's very live and let live. If you're feeling a certain way about yourself and your body, and you can fix that, fucking do it.
right.
I would hate to be, in something I'm not. I would hate that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can you imagine that kind of mental turmoil? I get it, man. I got a lot. I got a lot of friends that are that have. I know people that have transitioned. We meet a lot of fucking people, and people that are sort of like in the middle or whatever. And I know young kids. Thank God, kids can do they have more freedom to think, even though people are trying to shut that down. That's a whole political conversation. But I think if you are, whatever it is to make you happy, is what you got to do.
Right.
And you do whatever the fuck you got to do to bring yourself happiness and joy. That means fucking changing your body parts, whatever it is, changing this. It's a lot because this is the big part of it.
Yeah.
You can change physically, but if you're not right here, you're gonna have a hard time. So
that's the big key.
Live and let live. Live and let. If you're, I don't care whether you're black, white, red, yellow, unicorn, purple, polka dots, whatever. Boy, girl, boy, he, she, they, them. Just be fucking happy and don't fuck with me. Don't get on my dick because you're not happy with who you are. So the more happy you are, the less you'll fuck with me.
Exactly.
So everybody deserves to be happy. Everybody deserves joy, man. So whatever it takes. But like I said, that particular band, we did tour with them, and it got a little wacky. And we've all grown up since then, And like I said, we did, Rob's work with Davey on a lot of shows in Europe and stuff. And it was all good and fun. Luckily, we were, we had a label behind us, and we could do our own shows and do our
right.
We tried to do our own, for us to do our own headline tour, which should have happened back in the day anyway.
Yeah. Wow. Things you didn't know.
You know why? Because this podcast ain't no glam metal fag bullshit.
and there's no douchebaggery.
That's right, man. We must stop it. We're on a campaign, bro. When I do gigs from now on, we got to get the shirt. We got to get Rob to make some shirts and have a little fucking circle with the fucking thing right through it. You know.
There you go. Wild Wild West Show logo with the no ass. Yeah, I can't even say it. No asshole douchebaggery.
How about to the people, bro?
On that note, it's been an hour and 15 minutes. We've been going.
Man, we went on too long.
We never even got to like look at a video and laugh and.
All right, so now we got to fucking organize ourselves. We got to
Yeah.
put little time things on ourselves. We just slam it, dude.
You know, it's crazy because I literally only had 1, 2, 3. I had 4 stories written down, and they just spiderweb into multiple conversations.
My bad, man. You know, I'm ADD, bro.
Hey, man.
I can't even stay on one subject for like 30 seconds.
The questions that come up out of our topics, just like I said, spider webs, and
that's because we're simpatico. We understand each other, and I just love you, man. I love that we do this, and we understand why we do this. And like I said before, when I first talked to you, I said I just want to be able to have a conversation and let people know that it's not just rock and roll. There's so much that goes with it. Life is a rock and roll. I live life through a rock and roll perspective.
Right.
I'm all about like live and let live, live free or die, all that shit. And I just feel that, we need a vehicle. God bless the podcast. God bless the fact that we can do this through StreamYard, but that we have this vehicle. So the more we talk, the more people will join, the more we have the conversations.
On that note, make sure everybody goes down below in the box. Give us a thumbs up. People are dropping comments, but if you're watching this after we're live, you can still drop a comment. And most importantly, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, get all the notifications, and we should be back here next Tuesday night, and we'll be talking more fun stories and previewing Spread Eagles kicking back up Subway to the Stars tour.
Be good to each other. Be kind to each other. Don't be a dick. Okay?
Don't be and yeah, I can't. Why can't I say asshole tonight?
Remember, we must stop asshole douchebaggeryism in our lifetime. We owe it to our children.
Do it. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.